Tonight, we're gonna learn that some packages, well, they demand a little respect. So dim the lights, pull your blankets tight, and prepare yourselves. This little delivery is called Handle with Care or Die.
The summer heat was a thick, humid blanket, and for Mick, it was just another reason to hate his job. Mick drove a brown UPS truck, and he treated every package like it was filled with packing peanuts and contempt. Handle with care, fragile, those were just suggestions. Vague scribbles on cardboard boxes, easily ignored. He'd seen it all. Priceless antiques, delicate electronics, even live animals, all treated to the Mick Sturgis special, a short, violent flight from the truck to the porch, followed by a light knock, and then sweet, glorious escape. Today was no different. The air conditioning in the truck was wheezing its short breath, and Mick's patience was even shorter. He pulled up to a house on the outskirts of town. The paint on the old house was peeling like sunburnt skin, and the porch sagged under the weight of some unseen dread. And of course, there it was. A particularly large, oddly shaped box, plastered with more fragile stickers than Mick had ever seen on one item. The recipient's name was hand-scrawled in spindly, archaic script. Elias Snorps. Mick grunted. Fragile, sure. He heaved the box from the truck, already feeling a familiar disdain. Instead of gently setting it down, he gave it a little extra oomph and let it drop with a dull thud right in front of the door. He heard a faint metallic clink from inside the box, but he just shrugged. Not his problem. He scribbled on his handheld, gave a single half-hearted rap on the door, and then, before the sound even died, he was back in the truck, tires squealing as he pulled away. Inside the dilapidated house, Elliot, a man whose eyes held the weary wisdom of forgotten ages, heard the thud. He'd been expecting this package for months, an artifact of immense power, painstakingly acquired from decades of research. He shuffled to the door, his heart pounding. He opened the door, his gaze falling immediately on the fallen box. A frown, deep and ancient, creased his brow. As he brought it inside, he noticed a hairline crack snaking across the side of the wooden crate. A cold dread seeped into him. He carefully opened the box. There, nestled within, was a small, intricately carved statue of a deity, its eyes gleaming with an eerie luminescence. But a jagged piece was broken off from its base, lying forlornly beside it. Elliot's ancient eyes narrowed. He looked back at his porch, and there, almost imperceptible against the weathered wood, was a single light brown strand of hair. It glimmered faintly in the afternoon sun. A slow, terrible smile spread across Elias Snorps' face, a smile that promised retribution. Mick's next few days were odd. He was picking his nose in traffic, a habit he had perfected when he felt something strange. He pulled his finger out, and there, stuck to the tip, was a fingernail. His own. Not chipped, not broken, but perfectly detached. Mick stared at it, bewildered, then flicked it out the window. Must be stress, he figured. The next morning, he woke up with a chilling awareness. His right hand felt light. Too light. He lifted the blanket, and where his hand should have been, there was nothing but a smooth, unblemished forearm, ending abruptly at the wrist. He stared, frozen, his breath catching in his throat. His hand was gone. Vanished. Not severed, not aching, just gone. The police, when they finally arrived after this frantic, half-coherent call, looked at him like he was a lunatic. They found no signs of a struggle, no blood, no evidence of anything amiss. Just Mick, a man with one fewer hand, babbling about missing body parts. The doctors at the hospital were equally baffled. They ran every test imaginable, but Mick was physically sound, apart from a missing hand. They suggested psychological evaluation, stress-induced psychosis. Mick, trapped in a nightmare, knew better. A week later, the terror escalated. Mick was hobbling around his apartment, trying to adjust to life with one hand, when a sharp, agonizing jolt ripped through his right leg. He screamed, falling to the floor. When the pain subsided, he looked down. His entire right leg from the hip down was gone. Just gone. He cried then. Great shuddering sobs that racked his remaining body. He was shrinking, disappearing, piece by terrifying piece. The final piece disappeared on a Tuesday. Mick was lying in his bed, a mere torso and a head, watching the dust motes dance in the sunlight. He was too weak to move, too terrified to even truly process what was happening. A wave of dizziness washed over him, and then a profound darkness. He felt a sensation of tumbling, of being compressed, and then nothing. Just an endless, suffocating blackness. He was in the dark, a dark, cramped area, and he was still aware, still Mick. He could feel, though he had no hands to feel with. He could hear, though there were no sounds. He could sense, and what he sensed, what he felt, was a constant unsettling jostling. He was being tumbled, rotated, sometimes gently, sometimes violently, and every now and then he'd feel a soft thud, a familiar sickening bump. His own limbs, his hand, his leg, his fingernail probably, all tumbling around with him in the dark, silent prison. He now knew where his body parts had been going, inside the darkness of these confines. Weeks or perhaps months, time was a meaningless concept in the box, had passed. Mick, a floating, agonizing awareness, felt the constant chaotic ballet of his detached parts. He heard a sudden rumble, a vibration that grew louder, more insistent, a vehicle, a truck, and then a familiar, sickening lurch. He was being lifted. The motion stopped. There was a brief silence, then a dull thud. He was on a porch, he realized, an echoing memory of countless porch drops. He felt a fleeting hope. Was he being delivered? Was this his escape? Then came the sound of footsteps, heavy and unconcerned. A grunt, a familiar, almost nostalgic sense of impending doom. He felt the box shift, then a sudden, jarring impact. A kick. Inside the box, Mick's disembodied mind screamed. His separated hand slammed into his detached leg, and then with a sickening crunch, his floating head was struck by what felt like his own detached foot. He was being pummeled, by himself, in the dark. The kicks continued, each one sending a fresh wave of self-inflicted pain through his non-existent body. He was a package marked, handled with care, being treated with utter contempt. And somehow, he knew exactly who was going to open the box to greet him.
Well, wasn't that a package deal of pain? See, I told you, what goes around comes around, especially when you're literally falling apart. He's certainly in a box of trouble, isn't he? Let this be a lesson, my little ghouls. Always be careful what you deliver, because you never know what you might receive in return. Until next time, keep your packages safe and your body parts, well, attached.